Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Heel Brothers. Before we get into today's show, we first off want to say our thoughts and prayers go out again, to all the people that was affected the other day by the uh, actions, the heinous actions that happened on campus in Chapel Hill. Um, Everybody is thankfully rallying together. I mean, you see videos of people coming together and holding little memoirs. Carolina Strong is now trending all over Twitter, and that's something that we love to see. You know, we love going to that campus. We love seeing uh, that the scenery around that place and the people around there. We've always had a good time, and even though it's a down past gloomy couple of days, it's still good to see everybody seems to be in high spirits. Everything seems to be good, and man, we're happy that it didn't get any worse than it did. We're just really happy for that, and hopefully we can continue to move on. And now we have a game week officially here. It is week 1, and we are so excited to finally give you guys our season predictor. This is something that we have been kind of sitting back. We've actually recorded one of these technically already.
It was
Yeah, we did. That was about a month or so ago
a
now.
month ago. Yeah, probably about. It was supposed probably. I think it was supposed to be like our first one of our first episodes we recorded for the Hills Brothers that never
Yeah,
got published.
it did. We recorded that one along with the uniform episode. If you guys haven't saw that, be sure and go check that out. That uniform video, that was pretty fun. Um, but with it being a month ago, I felt like we needed to do it again. First off, audio quality, and it was not that good. So that's one pet peeve of mine. I wanted to make sure I give you guys the best content possible. But another
It
reason
was
is
like an
things
hour and
change.
40 minutes long.
That it was. We went extremely detailed on this. So we're gonna kind of keep this a little low key today. I'm gonna issue you the 30-second clock on everything. So we get about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds. Well, it's just two people.
You're
We can
gonna
go
put
45.
you're gonna put the little timer in the corner to
I'll
keep
do
us
it.
from oversharing.
I will keep us honest today. Normally, the way we like to do things when we do stuff like this is we like to do rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first and who goes last. Well, considering that we are on video screen and it doesn't seem to line up very perfectly, I've got a better idea for today. The almighty quarter. So,
Coin flip.
I'm going to flip this thing. You call it in the air. Actually, you know what? How about this? You call it now. And that way, when I flip this thing, it'll be fine.
Okay,
You
I'm gonna
call it
take
now. I'll flip it and I'll show you what it is. You ready?
tails.
Never fails. Does it? I can't.
No, I lost.
His heads? Heads. Hey,
The
I get to go
heads.
first. Holy smokes. I haven't won one of those things in quite a while. I'm not gonna lie. It's been like a year or so since I've won one of those dago rock paper scissors games and now coin flip.
You
But
won rock paper scissors last week.
did I?
Yes.
Oh, never mind then. I didn't. I quite frankly, I don't remember that at all.
Uh, Remember the like 3 overtime stutter we had on the video call?
Oh yeah. That was okay. Yeah, I'm with you now. I remember these things. I'm starting to get it up. Well, the first game in our predictor. So basically, what will happen is the way we'll kind of run this out is we'll start obviously week 1 South Carolina. I'll go. I'll give my prediction, and then he'll go, and then we'll kind of keep. I'll have a chart up by right now that will keep us up, and then at the end we'll show what our win and loss record are. For both people. So let's get it on. This Saturday, September 2nd, in Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium at 7:30 p.m. The North Carolina Tar Heels kick off the season against the South Carolina Gamecocks. This is a game that I think I know I've personally been looking forward to ever since it was announced that the two teams were going to be playing, and we knew that this year would be the year that they would line up and they would play against each other. I've been waiting for this game ever since the whistle was blown and the clock ran out in 21 at the Mayo Bowl. I personally, as a North Carolina fan, I want revenge. I want
Yeah.
revenge in this
Yeah.
against South Carolina. And I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I do believe that the defense is going to shock some people. I think they're going to come out. I think they're actually going to look better than the offense, at least for the first quarter, maybe even first half of this game. We'll see. But I do believe there's going to be a lot of feeling out process right now with both teams. So this is going to be kind of a sloppy game. But with the grit and the energy that I'm hearing coming out of the North Carolina Tar Heels camp and the lack thereof that I'm hearing coming out of South Carolina's camp, I'm going to pick North Carolina to win week 1 on ABC in a national televised game against South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah. I heard the same thing from Coach Beamer about his Gamecocks' lack of enthusiasm, lack of physicality. But at the same time, that he's either using that as motivation to motivate the team, or that could just be a little coach speak, just maybe muddying the waters a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They have cleared all their significant personnel that was on the injury reports. They've cleared them that they'll more than or hopefully 100% going on the field. That being said, I still like North Carolina in this match. I don't know. It's a coin flip. If Shane's Beamer's team is lacking in the physicality area, then I think our defensive line that's hopefully going to come out with something to prove can dominate the line of scrimmage, which is what we saw the Gamecocks do in that Mayo Bowl loss. They were chasing poor Sam Howell all over the field.
Yep.
So yeah, I have North Carolina winning this one, starting the season off on a high note.
Yeah, you can't win all of them until you win the first one. So, South Carolina, it's gonna be a fun matchup. But the next week they come back and they go home for a matchup I think will have a lot more attention on in the nation than maybe we even believe so. North Carolina hosting App State after the 120 some odd point debacle that we had last year in Boone.
Mm-hmm.
I think coming out of the I think the South Carolina win, in my opinion, really propels the North Carolina team this year and really propels the team going into that second week right there. The fans are going to be excited. First home game. They're going to be looking forward to seeing Drake May again. This is maybe the last time you get to see this guy on the field. You're hoping that the energy just pushes all the way through. And I think North Carolina honestly takes this game against App State in quite a deciding factor.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think App State will not perform up to the standard that they performed at home last season. I don't. Yeah, I'm taking North Carolina, of course, but I don't see it being a barn burner or a 2-team barn burner. It could be a 1-team barn burner.
Mm-hmm.
But
love to see Connor Harrell be able to play
game.
in this game.
Yeah, anytime you can bring the backups in, backup quarterback, backup offensive line, backup linebackers, the younger defensive linemen, anything like that will help this team in the long run once this schedule gets down to the rough and the ragged.
Well, then we move on to the following week, and I will be in attendance for this game. I am really looking forward to this game, and I think this one right here is flying under the radar. Big physical 9-win Minnesota out of the Big Ten is coming down from the hills down to Chapel Hill, and this right here is going to be an interesting game. I'm telling you, this game right here has the very much of potential to be a back and forth slugfest. If North Carolina is not careful here, they can definitely lose this game. They can very well lose this game. Now, I've only been to Chapel Hill once when they haven't won. I don't plan on repeating myself. So I'm taking North Carolina to win a tight one against Minnesota.
Yeah, I'll second that. I think this Minnesota team is, from what little I know of them, I believe this Minnesota team is going to come in and play this North Carolina team a lot closer than fans may think when they think, oh, it's just Minnesota. It's still a 9-5 Minnesota team last season. So yeah, but I do have UNC winning this one, also in a close one.
Tight one. Now here's the game. So far, we're both 3-0. Here's where it might get tricky. North Carolina's got to take a trip up to good old Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be a hard one. I'm telling you this much now.
Who's their quarterback?
What's that? Slovis is no? Is
that who? That's the name that I had in my brain, Slovis. But
I think so.
I think he transferred somewhere else. I'm not sure who their quarterback.
That's right. I think he went to BYU or somewhere like that. Golly, I can't think of that kid's name. I'll think of it in a minute. Yeah. I'll let you. We're doing this live, so I'll let you do it. I'll cut that out in the edited version of this thing, but the non-edited version, you're going to see all the Google text. Sorry, it is what it is. But North Carolina last year had their way in the second half against Pittsburgh at home. They broke away. I think they won by 22, 21, 20, something like that. And they had a good game, or 24, I believe it was. But this one right here, I believe, is going to be quite a tight one. This one right here is also a game that if North Carolina's not careful, if they let the fans get into it too much and they buy into it too much, they can lose, and actually kind of lose in a deciding factor here if they're not careful. But given the last time North Carolina rolled up into Pittsburgh, we saw that game and how close it was. They had the game and they just gave it away. They had the game and they gave it. I remember me and you both. Oh man, it was. We watched that game at your house, and dude, I was not happy after that game. But I think North Carolina comes out because people are picking Pittsburgh to be pretty solid this year. So the two games this season that North Carolina is not favored in is Pittsburgh and then Clemson. But even though I think it's going to be a super tight one, it's going to be a back and forth, I'm actually going to pick North Carolina to win, maybe in an overtime game. Maybe I'm looking like a really tight fourth quarter, maybe a field goal kick or some sort of great defensive stuff to win it, or they have to go into overtime and handle business. But I do believe North Carolina rights that ship and continues on and comes back to Chapel Hill 4-0.
Phil Jurkovec, the graduate transfer, is Pittsburgh's Jurkovec is their quarterback. I think this Pitt UNC football game over the past couple seasons has definitely turned into a small rivalry game, if you would. Pittsburgh's always talked about how soft North Carolina is. They don't like physicality. They can never close. They can never finish games. This, that, and the other. And now North Carolina did get the better Pittsburgh last year, but I think Pittsburgh was a little down last year.
Yeah.
That being said, I still like North Carolina to go up there and win to prove a point. Pittsburgh's defense is known as physical. I think North Carolina really relies on the defense that has had 3 weeks to not only prepare, but 3 weeks to gain some cohesion in the defense. And I think you see probably, hopefully, the best defensive performance of the season thus far in Pittsburgh. And I feel like this one, if there's going to be a low-scoring game this season, I feel like this is one of those ones that doesn't break out of the 20s.
Yeah, honestly, I could see that too. That one's going to be an interesting one. But me and you both 4-0 so far going in to week 5 against Syracuse. We've got I think this is actually going to be a pretty fun game. I honestly think this is going to be pretty good. You know, Syracuse last year was on it. They were on one. They had a really good, decent team last season, and they're returning their quarterback. I think they're returning their running back too. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, these guys ain't playing around. They were doing pretty hot until they ran into Clemson last year, and then they kind of nosedive from there. But Syracuse is not to be taken lightly, I don't believe. I think it's going to be a back and forth matchup, but I think it's kind of tight through 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, I think North Carolina pulls away and wins by at least 7 to 10 points. I'm taking North Carolina in that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take North Carolina in this game also, just for the simple fact that I don't know much about Syracuse. I know what they did last year, um, but that's not a typical program that you hear about putting back-to-back successful seasons. But again, UNC is not a program that you hear about taking back-to-back successful seasons.
Right.
And this is a home game.
This is a home game, yes. Matter of fact, I'm kind
Yeah.
of looking at going at it.
So yeah, I'm gonna give North Carolina the nod for this game for the simple fact that this is a home game.
Now, the next game that we have here is a game me and you both are kind of talking about going to potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Miami coming to town against the Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. Potentially the first night game. Maybe it's when these lights get to be shown off some. Who knows? We'll
Mm-hmm.
see. Maybe we'll kind of get a taste of it in App State because that's a 5:50 game. That game starts at 5:50, so maybe towards the back half of that, you'll get to see a little bit of a light show
Yeah,
there if you're in attendance for that App State game, which is sold out by the way, which is awesome. But
we need to sell all the games out.
no joke, and I think all of them are sold out except for like one or two. Yeah, I think one or two. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Miami coming into North Carolina this year. This one, I have a feeling, is going to be an actual legit fun game. I think this one has because honestly, right here, North Carolina can very well lose this game. I believe. I actually believe that
Yep.
Miami is going to put together a pretty solid season this year. If they
Mm-hmm.
don't, then boy, Miami is going to have some big questions here. But North Carolina's got to make sure that they keep the mistakes in this game under control. They've got to be able to
Mm-hmm.
just do like they do last year. Get your wideouts out there, get your wide receivers going, because the secondary for Miami isn't all that great. They definitely were learning to grow up some last year, and you got to see some amazing passes by Drake, for sure in that game. But I think North Carolina comes out. Honestly, this is a game I would like to see a Omari and Hampton coming out party, kind of like you had with Javonte Williams a few years ago. I'd
Yeah,
like to see
Michael
something like
Carter
that.
just running all over the place.
Right. I would like to see that again. I think they may take, depending on how the running backs are doing at that time, I think you may see that same similar approach. But I'm going to take North Carolina potentially under the lights. And a pretty fun one in Chapel Hill against Miami.
Yeah. Well, for the first time in quite some time, uh, you don't hear a lot of preseason hype for Miami.
Yeah.
Typically, Miami comes in with some kind of preseason hype. They're typically ranked in the top 25. They start the season off with a couple barn burners. Get the season rolling. Then typically about the time they roll into North Carolina, they're kind of starting that mid-season slide to where they're not performing up to expectations, and then it's just all downhill from here for Miami. And Miami is not Miami anymore. But this season, there's no preseason hype. So it'll be interesting. I still think this smackdown beating of Miami since he's returned continues. I don't see how Miami comes into North Carolina and knocks us off. So yeah, North Carolina taking this one.
Do you think that no preseason hype might actually play in Miami's favor for their season, not just the
that's what I was alluding to. So, I mean, yeah. So the no preseason, like the coach can be like, "Look here, guys, we're not the team from Florida they're talking about. They're talking about Florida State. Florida State this, Florida State that. You know, Florida State's going to contend for the ACC this year, and that's all going to hopefully that. Well, not I guess for Miami fans, hopefully that fuels the Miami players to come out and show who the real team of Florida is. Just not
as a matter of fact, Florida State, they're both pretty talked about a whole lot right now. UCF just got like a big time 5-star plus, which I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, 5-star plus.
That's for the elite of the elite, I guess. I ain't never heard of them, so I guess I ain't no good.
The best of the best.
Yeah. But yeah, I think so as well. They stay at home and they have Virginia coming in. And honestly, I think we all know this one. This one's going to probably be a boring one. I honestly think this might be one of those potential barn burners. Now I will give Virginia credit here. You know, last year in Charlottesville, they really did, you know, kind of push Carolina for sure and made it a contest, that's for sure. But when it comes to this one this year, I don't know if I have the faith in them to do that again. You know, they've got a lot of things to figure out. Brennan Armstrong is no longer the quarterback there. So they've got a lot of figuring out to do and a lot of things they've got to get straightened out over there in Virginia. But I picked North Carolina into this one and probably a pretty handily fashion here.
Yeah, I was just saying there's not, I don't feel like there's much to talk about with this Virginia UNC matchup. I think UNC handles this team fairly easily.
Well, we've talked about some games that are close, potentially close. Even one I even said that would go into the overtime game. Well, this one right here is potentially the trap game of the season. It always is. North Carolina traveling down to Georgia to play Georgia Tech. As far as we know, this game is actually going to be played in Georgia Tech's house. What's that? I forget the name of that. Bobby Dodd Stadium. Instead of in there where the Falcons play. I forget the name of that place.
Mercedes-Benz?
I get that one, and I get the Superdome and the whatever they've got in New Orleans. I get those two mixed up all the time.
Yeah. It's all right. That Mercedes-Benz might be New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm really not sure, but this is a trap game for North Carolina. This game right here is the game that then began the slide for the rest of the season that we're still talking about to this day because it lasted all the way to the end of the season, and North Carolina is still carrying it because they dropped this game at home last year. We were in attendance for that, and this is where North Carolina's got to go down there in Georgia, down there in Bobby Dodd, and they've got to right the ship. You know, Georgia Tech, and even Nate McCullum have been talked about it. You know, Nate McCullum said Tech's just seemed to have, you know, UNC's number over the past few years. It just seems to be a normal thing. We saw, you definitely saw it a couple of seasons ago when, you know, North Carolina went down there, started out playing great, and then all of a sudden, this is Sam Howell last year, and just dropped it, and then got kind of embarrassed a little bit. Last year, you know, 17-zip, going to halftime, come back out, and team's never the same again.
I don't know what happened to that halftime speech.
Yeah, you know, that they didn't come back out and finish that game at all. So, and you know, Tech is a team that's got a lot to figure out for their team. You know, brand new head coach, but they had those same things to figure out. Honestly, more things to figure out last year when they came into Chapel Hill and beat North Carolina than they do now. Like, head coach is steady. I think they finally found a quarterback in the rotation. They did lose one of their star wide receivers. We got that guy. And I honestly believe that this is actually going to be a tough contest for the Tar Heels to fight in. And I'm going to pick them. I'm going to pick the Tar Heels to win this one. And I think it'll be a little bit closer than we may think or even want.
Honestly, I'm of the belief that North Carolina just goes down to Atlanta and finally gets that monkey off their back, so to speak, when it comes to football in Atlanta. And
Yeah.
we just pretty much go down there and handle business.
Yeah, I'd like that myself. But, this is the part of the season where North Carolina's got to start proving, okay, we deserve to be here, because it's normally in these times, games like this, that is those head scratchers. We talk about all the time, those head scratcher games. Why did they lose this game? Really? Why did they lose this game?
Yeah, because we're to the point in the schedule now where you almost got to start looking for losses.
Yeah. And, they come back next week. I don't even know if Drake plays in this game. The Campbell game. I think we can.
Well, I think Drake plays. Now, how much he plays, I think
Yeah.
is going to be relying on the defense. If the
I think he'll
defense
play the first
can,
series or so.
no, he's going to play more than that. UNC is going to have to be up by. If UNC is up by 20 halfway through the second, I think coming out of, or if UNC goes up 20 plus before halftime, when halftime starts out, I think the first series for the offense at Jacoby Criswell. God, what is his name? Not Criswell.
Connor.
Yeah, Connor Harrell is the one marching out to take the snaps on that first offensive series.
Yeah, I honestly see that. I think this should be one of those games. You rest up because
you got
the last 3 games of the season are upon you at this point in time.
Those are tough. Those are 3 tough ones.
Yeah, and let's start off at home. The last home game for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Keep in mind, at this point in time, they've played at 1 neutral site game and 2 true away games. And that was at the 2 true away were Pitt and Tech. Neutral site was against South Carolina this Saturday. Last home game of the season. This is going to be a fun one. I really think this is going to be a fun one. Duke, North Carolina. We all know when you say those two names, you think the basketball. Well, the football is starting to get quite interesting between these two great quarterbacks, 2 great top tier. I mean, some of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, in my personal opinion. If you put out the top 3 quarterbacks in the ACC, 2 of them are playing in this game. And Riley Leonard's playing really good out there. They're returning a lot of players. We're going to see how good Duke can be week 1 this coming Monday on the 4th on Memorial Day. Or is that Labor Day?
They're playing on the Monday?
They're playing on Monday. They're not playing on Saturday. They're playing on Monday.
That's Labor Day.
Yeah, so we're going to get to see them. I think it's Monday night playing. At Duke. Saturday. Clemson's coming to town to play them and open up their season. So Duke's going to be potentially riding high. I haven't looked at their schedule, but we'll see for sure. But I think this is going to be a close one. I think this is going to be a fun one. And I think North Carolina takes the game at Duke and stays undefeated going all the way. 10-0 so far. I'm cool with it. They get their 10 wins.
Yeah, the 10 wins. So you think Duke is the 10th win of the season?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's 3 games left. I do not think North Carolina goes undefeated.
Who's their losses? Well, if it's not Duke,
we'll get there. I just can't. I'd rather pick them to win and they lose than pick them to lose and they lose. I'm not going to pick North Carolina to lose to Duke any day of the week, even if I do think that Duke could sneak in there and still win. But yeah, UNC wins this game.
Yeah, that Duke can very well come in and win this game. Very well can come in here and win this game.
I mean,
Now, I will say one thing. You talk about their schedule last year. They took advantage of a kind of an easy schedule, which is good.
Yeah,
North Carolina
they
did
did.
too.
I mean, you do what you're supposed to do.
Right. They kind of had a couple of head scratching losses themselves over there, but did what they needed to do, won their bowl game against UCF. This is kind of a, propel year for them. Like last year's, okay, we can win. Okay, now what can we do the next year? See if they can't propel them a little bit more forward. And Mike Elko's doing a great job over there, I believe. And personally, I think they're gonna be awesome. But I'm still gonna pick North Carolina to win it. Then they go on the road for 2 weeks, 2 back-to-back weeks, and I'm gonna be in attendance for this game. I'm looking forward to going to this game. And the North Carolina Tar Heels head on the road to Death Valley. First time they've been there since like 2014, I believe, to face the Clemson Tigers, a rematch from the ACC Championship. Now, this game could look pretty good nationally, depending on how these two teams sit. So let's say theoretically,
let's say we predicted all these games right.
Let's say we've got it 10-0. North Carolina's coming in 10-0. Let's say Clemson hasn't lost a game either. They beat Florida State. They've done what they needed to do. This game could be huge nationally. So you've got 2 undefeated teams, theoretically, coming into this game into Death Valley. Personally, I believe that's – if I had to bet, I'm betting right now, I'm picking North Carolina's schedule. If I had to pick Clemson's schedule, I think they are as well 10-0. I think they knock off Florida State, and I think they knock off Notre Dame. I think the Notre Dame game is going to actually be a lot more of a trap game than the Florida State game, because Florida State's coming to Clemson. So is Notre Dame. That's why I'm giving them the edge there.
Sam Hartman looked nice. Sam Hartman looked really nice. That offense looked good.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
You saw what Sam Hartman did to Clemson and Wake Forest.
Right. So, we'll see what happens when they're in Death Valley and see if they can be the next team to knock them off. Yeah, he does. And the thing about it is Clemson's defense is looking awesome from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of good high things and high praise. Now I've heard Eric McLean from the ACC network. He played for Clemson. He was an O lineman. He said, like, I'm in the drills or I'm watching drills. And it's like the offensive line is beating the defensive line every snap, and normally that's quite the opposite.
That's pretty scary, because I thought Clemson was supposed to have a prolific defensive line this year.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. They have all that talent on the defensive line, and the offensive line's just going crazy. And evidently, I heard there's this new freshman, Peter Wood. It's a great name. But he's going to be someone to look forward to, I've heard, from that side of the camp. But, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm here to predict. Now, honestly, I have 2 answers for this. If Tez is playing,
only have one.
If Tez is playing, I believe this is a tight. I think this is a tight game no matter what. Honestly, I really think this is going to be a close, fun game. If Tez is playing, I say you're in position to win by a field goal, and I'll say North Carolina wins that game. But if Tez is not playing, Clemson takes this game against North Carolina. So I'm going to prepare. I'm going to put my projections if Tez is not playing, So I'm going to say Clemson wins this game. North Carolina is 10-1.
But if Tez is playing this game, they're 11-0.
They're 11-0 going into NC State. Then you can't lose. You can't lose.
Wow. Okay, Tommy. I mean, I agree. If Tez plays the game, it makes the game closer. But I still believe Clemson's defense is just a lot better than North Carolina's defense. And at the end of the day, you know what the old saying is: defense wins championships. Even though I think Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence would say otherwise.
They had some great pieces on that offense. I mean, you can't discount their defense, but their offense was great.
No, I mean you can't discount their defense, but when you have a quarterback, when you go from Deshaun Watson who can pass, then he had all the wide receiver talent in the world around him. Then you double team a wide receiver, then you got a slot man like Hunter Renfro that can just bust open over the middle, but then you got to have a safety guard him, or drop a linebacker, in a bracket type coverage. Well, if all your receivers are hemmed up, guess what? There's nobody to account for Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, and guess what they can both do? Run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they saved many a games with their legs when nothing else was there. But yeah, I just think Clemson's defense is just too much for North Carolina to overcome this season. I love Drake May. I still think he gets his numbers. If North Carolina is 10-0 going into Clemson and he performs well in Clemson, gets a couple hundred yards passing, 30, 40, 50 yards rushing, a couple passing touchdowns, maybe a rushing touchdown, and they lose, I don't think the Heisman train slows down any, because you just went toe-to-toe with one of the nation's top programs in their own stadium. With or without Tez, I just unless North Carolina gets a couple key turnovers or a key stop and a turnover, or something like a score before halftime and they won the coin toss, so they get the ball at halftime to and then they come out and score a touchdown on that next drive, put 14 unanswered points up, and it's a close game, and then it's just a dogfight from here on out. But something's going to big is going to have to either happen on defense or special teams for North Carolina to really to still win in Death Valley.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'll take a Clemson win there. So North Carolina's 10-1 with one game left to play. They're not going home. They're going to Raleigh to play NC State. This game right here is huge for North Carolina, and I believe they already know it. The past couple of years, NC State's had your number. They beat you in Raleigh a couple of seasons ago. Sam Howell's last. As a matter of fact, that was the last game that they played right before they went on to that bowl game. And we all saw how that ended. Not good. Just gave that up too. Gave that win up too. And then last year, double overtime and a missed field goal.
And
a fiasco. There was a lot of things. There was a couple of unfortunate events that happened in that game that I believe kind of contributed to that loss. But still can't make excuses for the guys. They definitely gave that one up. Definitely gave that one up. And you got to give credit to NC State as well. But this year, NC State picked up Brennan Armstrong out of Virginia, picked up a wide receiver that's been in college for, 8 years now, and he's eligible. So that'll be a good weapon for him to have over there. Honestly, this might be bad. This one might not go too well. It just seems like it's that game that it seems like it's just been hovering over the past couple of years. But North Carolina, I believe, goes up there and rights the ship. They finally smacked that pack on down, and and North Carolina gets that win and finishes the regular season 11-1.
No. I as much as I'd like for them to be 11-1, and I predict them to be 10-1 so far. This is North Carolina football, and until they prove me wrong, I'm going to prove myself right. NC State's just had our number for whatever reason. It seems like we're going to NC State. I don't like NC State. I don't want to pick UNC to lose, but I will pick NC State to win.
Yeah, I got you. So, all right. So the total was what, 11-1 for me, 10-2 for you on the season. I think with my bid, they'd have an ACC title appearance, considering tiebreakers, and I don't know exactly how that works or what FSU would be doing at that time. With 10-2, I don't believe.
I've even seen an 11-1 bid with North Carolina's only loss coming to Clemson. North Carolina still doesn't make the ACC championship.
Yeah, it all depends on FSU, and a lot of people are thinking that LSU might knock off FSU. That'd be kind of cool to see.
I think LSU is down one of their star players due to signing some type of autographs in the 2020 season before NIL was actually a thing.
Oh well. I'm not sure exactly what Florida State's
NCAA doing
ACC.
NCAA.
Well, yeah. I don't know what Florida State's ACC matchups are looking like this year. I don't know exactly who they play and when they play. But yeah, Clemson plays both Florida State and North Carolina, and unless one of them can knock them off, more than likely you're going to get, Clemson will be in the ACC championship, I believe, for sure. You hope North Carolina's there. If they're 11-1, you hope they're a part of that. If not, then yeah, you still finish the season 11-1. You're still going to be looked at pretty highly nationally, I believe. Top 15
I
at
don't think
least.
I don't think I've ever rooted for the other team in blue, but that's going to be a hard team to bet against come Monday. I might have to twirl. I might have to be sitting on the couch being like, I just hope Clemson loses, just fumble the ball out of the back of the end zone on accident and give up a safety for the other team to win.
I wouldn't, because then Duke would have a talking point. Man, we beat Clemson and y'all can't. I don't. No. I would rather.
If we beat Duke, we essentially beat Clemson, because that's how the universe works.
I'm glad.
If I beat you and you beat that team, then I essentially beat that team.
You know what?
The next week and lose to that team.
You are currently
Still beat
sounding
y'all.
like a South Carolina fan. That's exactly what you're sounding like. That is, anywho.
I didn't realize South Carolina had a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Dow Loggins is, I think that's how you say his name.
It's just going to be a guessing game for Gene Chizik the first half, probably.
Yeah. And what I thought was kind of cool is, I think Dow, I don't know how many new coaches he brought in, but Shane Beamer in his conference, he was talking about all the changes UNC's had on the coach staff. He says, we're having to watch film from like 14 different schools. It's like, yeah, good luck, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, but all this stuff gets started. Let us know who you think North Carolina is going to get wins against, who they're going to lose to. Give us your season predictor. We want to see it down below. I didn't realize this thing went for 47 minutes already. It's just the two of us.
Oh, no. Just give a little shout out to the Tar Heel Ron for holding down that YouTube comment section.
Yeah, Tar Heel Ron's been MVP of the comments section over the past few days. The channel's growing a little bit more and more, and we thank all of you for that. Keep it coming. We're going to keep content coming out. We will be in attendance this Saturday for the North Carolina South Carolina game. I will be making a full-fledged vlog for that. You guys are going to see that, just having a good fun game day vlog. I'll also be posting up shorts, actual legit, the 60-second shorts probably throughout the day. And I think what we'll do is while we're there, we'll do a we've picked wins. On game day, I'll see how you feeling, because we'll know the Tez Walker situation by that point in time for sure. But yeah,
What
well,
if they
I
make a
mean,
phone call like 4:30 and be like, "Hey, guys, we had like a meeting on Friday, but we forgot to tell you. Oh yeah, he can play."
yeah.
Did
I
you
mean,
see
that
like
wouldn't
the
surprise
equipment
me.
manager running back to the bus to get the shoulder pads off?
Oh, no. I for sure believe that will already be in the building and sitting at a locker just waiting for him. I promise you that much. He'll be ready to rock.
This makes me sick.
Oh,
Anyway,
I'm with you too.
well,
I'm with you. I can't
we'll
stand it.
save that rant for Sunday or Monday or Tuesday when
Yeah.
Tez Walker doesn't get cleared.
Man, have some optimism, man, some faith. It can happen. It's just the
Yeah.
NCAA. You got to think as dumb as the NCAA. Like, okay, we'll let him play. It's freaking 7:00 on Saturday, but why not? Let him play.
They're too busy making plans for the NCAA tournament in March.
That's the only thing they do right. That's just me. That's the only thing they do right, though.
Nope. Yep. Not going down this rabbit hole. We've been doing this for 50 minutes.
Yeah. I'll just say this: Tez Walker gets cleared. Look out, South Carolina.
Oh yeah, they're in trouble if Tez Walker gets cleared.
Yeah, I'm with them on that. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. The road to Charlotte officially ends in a couple of days. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna be ready. I'm taking work off on Friday. I'm gonna enjoy all day Friday. I'm gonna enjoy what Saturday has to bring. I'm gonna be posting content after that for you guys. We'll be doing a post game. We'll give us some thoughts about how the game went, what we thought, what we liked, what we disliked. Is it, after we'll see it's a win, it's a loss. Obviously, all that'll, we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to it, dude. College football is back, and it is time to finally kick off. Legit. I don't count week 0. Week 0 is just a bunch of nonsense. Week 1,
this is week 0 last season.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was fun, but it was North Carolina playing. Outside of that, I don't care about anything else. Caleb Williams, congratulations. You can throw the ball against San Jose State. Sam Hartman, you can throw the ball against a really bad Navy team. Congratulations. I'm ready to play for real football. I'm ready for real teams to get on the field against other real teams and have a good time. Yeah, let's get out of here, dude. All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for that way you can catch every time that we do another video. And thank you, as always, good sir, for being on here. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
I had fun.
It's a fun time. It's a good time. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and go Hills.
Go Hills.